base my health on how I feel. I'm waiting for a stroke. I'm waiting for a heart attack. I'm waiting for a little tumor to grow in my prostate or in my breast for them to tell me. I have a woman right now going in for her 4th mammogram. Every time you have a mammogram, it rips apart the nucleus of the cell and causes cancer. So if we all know it causes cancer, why do we do it? Because we don't know where to look. We're deceived. We're in the box. And the worst thing, when they're about ready to take our breasts, the first thing they say was, and by the way, don't worry about the breast removal because your insurance will pay for it. All right, go ahead and take off my breast right now. And that's a conversation I had this morning with a professional trainer about a woman recently, a famous actress, not Jolie, another one, that had her 2 breasts removed at the same time. So we've got to know what health is. Now, before we get into the stretching maneuvers, as we go through this review of what it is that we do, hey guys, that we have to get to a point where health is so vital to us that we don't want to wait till we notice that we're depressed, that we're emotional, that we can't sleep, that we have no energy, that we're whining all the time. That's just the beginning, man. When they diagnose you with heart disease or pre-diabetic or pre-cholesterol or pre, everybody's pre-disease until you have a disease. So why do we allow the world to position us to wait for disease to then think we're sick? It's upside down. It makes no sense. So the number 1 cause of interference to the central nervous system is what? Okay. And so when the vertebra moves out of place, and while we're doing the stretching maneuvers tonight, that's going to help us to hold the vertebra in place. Primarily, what's the most important vertebra in the human body? Michelle? Atlas. And the atlas vertebra is located where, George?
In your neck.
And what part of your neck, Stephen?
Base of the skull.
Base of the skull, which is located where, Ken?
Right there.
Where you're pointing. Now, now watch this. Watch this. You've never seen this before. Under what? Under stress. Does anybody here have stress besides me? Just slip up your hand real quickly. 1, 2 people, 4, 5. So we all have stress. Because of the fall, Adam and Eve, and we'll debate that later, because we live in a fallen world, back in the day, man, we were going to live in perfection forever. And then because of stress, organs start to progressively decay, degenerate, and break down. And so under stress, the vertebra, the first vertebra called the atlas, moves out of place and leans against, what's this called? The brainstem. So if our child, or if our spouse, has pressure at the brainstem, do you notice something happening with the hemisphere? Under emotional, continual petrochemical, physical stressors, the brain actually constricts on one side of the hemisphere. And the model that you're raised in, not me, I'm raised in a vitalistic model, you're raised in a mechanistic, in the box model that says I'm fine, bam, now I'm not fine. That is not the model that we teach you. And so what happens is, when this thing starts to constrict and constrict and constrict, the AMA made an announcement in 2001 saying, you know, the brain is important for the health of the human body. Aren't we relieved? They got it. So under emotional, physical, or environmental stress, can't pay your bills, IRS, spouse issues, getting older, decay, degeneration, we have a strong side and a weak side. And when we're out of balance from a central nervous system standpoint, there's going to be what? Out of balance. If I can keep you to understand that you need to stay in balance, and what controls all balance? The what? Central nervous system. We know it. We know it, but we don't correlate it with the chiropractic brainstem adjustment. We correlate the chiropractic brainstem adjustment with, oh, my wife's getting migraines. Oh, my husband can't move his legs. Absurd. It has nothing to do with what we do. What we want to focus on is motion, because motion is another word for motion is L-I-F-E, that is life. And energy comes from the source, which is called the brain. And the energy source, which is motion, brings what? Information to where? To every cell in your body. So when someone has cancer, leukemia, when someone has sickle cell, there's a breakdown in the central nervous system, and these cells will no longer do what properly? Watch this. When the vertebra moves out of place, it causes interference of the life force, creating what? Loss of motion because of what? Lack of information to where? To the breast tissue, the cervical tissue, the prostate tissue, the spleen, the ovaries, the uterus, the lungs, the neck, the back, the arms, the legs. And so what happens is, if the body gets enough of lack of information, eventually the system of your body, whichever system you choose, endocrine, reproductive, cardiovascular, the system gets in what kind of a state? A dysfunctional state. What does dysfunctional mean?
Not working as it
Not
should.
working then. Now, how do we know us or our children are not working to their potential? How do we know? Everyone say it together. We don't know. Until when? Watch this. I'm going to remove my hand. Over time, the dysfunction has to become what? Disease. There is no disease that can happen to you, your husband, your wife, your children, your parents without going through what? You got to have dysfunctional tissue before we can label you some type of disease. It's a time issue, and we've got the advantage. But the downside is this, as we get ready to do our stretching maneuvers. The downside is because we have something called disease insurance. When do we use our health insurance? When you're sick. So what should it be called? Sickness insurance. We use insurance that insures the sickness of the way we think, thinking that now I notice my child has ear infections, so now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go to Walgreens for free, I'm going to shop for an antibiotic, I'm going to suck it into my son's body, destroying all the flora in the colon and the stomach, never getting to the root of why my children keep getting allergies, asthma, and ear infections. Never getting to the what? Never getting to the what? The root. According to Dr. Perot in New York City, he says, he runs the American Cancer Prevention Institute in Manhattan, and this is what he says. He says that the chiropractic adjustment, according to his cancer patients and his blood work that he does every week on these people, the adjustment increases your immune system 200 to 400%. People who are in the chiropractic care, who have cancer, have an 85% chance of healing than people who are not, according to this medical doctor, PhD, who runs this center in Manhattan. Did you guys all hear this statistic before? Did you guys all study this before? Why is it kept so silent? Any questions about what the subluxation does to you and your family? So when we do these maneuvers, I do these maneuvers that you're going to learn right now. We're going to go into the family room. I do these maneuvers 3 times a day. 14 years ago, I was paralyzed for 28 days. So no motion, no legs, and arms not moving too well as well. The capacity that you have just to do these basic 5-minute maneuvers for you and your family will help you hold the adjustment longer. Now, if you have a subluxation and you do stretching maneuvers, it can still be a benefit, but what people say to me is, isn't exercise good for you, Dr. John? Yeah, if the vertebra's out of place and you're exercising your body to get stronger, what's it going to do to the vertebra that's out of place? It's going to keep it out of place because now with all those tendons and ligaments that wrap around your spine are going to be stronger. So we want to keep the vertebra in place. We want to enjoy optimal function. We want to have a spectacular life of movability and motion and agility. And we don't want to wait till we notice that we, our spouse, or our children are ill. Any questions? And the bottom line is this: the function of brightness. If you brush your teeth once a month, you know what's going to happen? On that month that you brush your teeth, you're going to say to yourself, wow, yeah, exactly. You're going to go,
Maybe do it.
man, I really can, wow, I really feel the difference with my tongue. But if you brush your teeth 4 times a day, you're never going to experience that feeling because you're maintaining. I told someone today, my truck in the back's got 224,000 miles, and my truck at home's got 273,000. This guy was from Ecuador. He was freaking out. I said, wow, no kidding, no way. I said, yeah. You know what I do with my truck? Maintain it. Don't wait to blow blue smoke, because if it does blow blue smoke, what do? We drive down to AutoZone, and we buy the anti-blue smoke liquid. We pour it, mix it with our gas, and guess what happens to the blue smoke? It goes away. There's no more blue smoke out of the rearview mirror. Am I happy or sad? I'm happy. BAM! The engine blows up. Am I happy or sad? I'm sad. And
Happy
that's
because you get to buy a new car.
always thinking out of the box, Tammy. Way to go. All right. So any questions? So let's go. Let's work on some of these maneuvers. Let's focus on doing